sound? Do I have a live mic? Mic on. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pride at the Ledge. My name is Alex Crosney, and I'm so happy to see all of you here today. I also just want to point out that this is what happens when you have a government that supports the 2S LGBTQIA community, and we get to celebrate in the building. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're gathered here on Treaty 1 territory, the treaty territories and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Dakota Oyate, Denisuline, and Neothawuk nations, and northern Manitoba is on Inuit lands, and Manitoba is the homeland and birthplace of the Red River Métis. I also know that all of us are thinking about our neighbors across Manitoba today as these wildfires continue to burn, and remind all of us that we need to work with all of our relations across Manitoba, both in moments of crisis and in the future. I would now like to invite Elder Charlotte Nolan to start us off in a good way with an opening prayer.
Tansi, bonjour. Hanista, nepawis kabaskal ki huis square. Equa, make it soon, Mr. Tim and Pimpitat. Equa, Charlotte. Kihuni Dodam, Red River Settlement, Dochan, Tastawiniao and the New Anishinaabe Otipimiswak. First of all, I'd like to say, wow. This is so beautiful. And to all my relatives from the four sacred directions, happy Pride. That this is a moment that our children and grandchildren will be talking about. It fills my heart with love seeing all of you, seeing our government supporting us, standing up for us. It wasn't always that way, but we've moved into the 21st century and we've taken some huge strides forward in standing up for ourselves and standing up for those coming up behind us. No tawana semaitu. Kinanas kumatin for the gift of life today and the blessings of creation. Kinanas kumatin kukamnao mosunao for the wisdom and guidance that you share with us. Kinanas kumatin kiganawaski. Mitsu ekwa maskiki. I thank you, Creator, grandmothers, grandfathers, for all that you bless us with. And I ask you to look after our relatives who are in those fire-ravaged areas, to keep them safe and guide them home after. I'd like to ask you, Creator, grandmothers, grandfathers, to come and walk with us on Sunday at the Pride Parade and to help us in letting the world know who we are and where we belong in society. If I've forgotten anything, Creator, please accept them in my solemn prayers. Mitakwese, gaganaw kumakanak, tut mapakante, ekose, oho.
Thank you, Elder Nolan, for starting us off in a good way. I would now like to introduce the Minister of Families and the Minister responsible for Women and Gender Equity, and the host of today's event, Minister Nahanni Fontaine.
Anin, everyone. Happy Pride to everybody that is here in the People's Building and those that aren't with us, really across Manitoba and across Canada and across the world, really. So I want to acknowledge everybody to have a happy Pride. One of the greatest honors that I have is to be the minister responsible for gender equity and to work with our amazing team at Wage. And one of the things that I've been saying as I've been going around, our Wage team only knows how to do things big. If you don't do things big, just go home. But this is about acknowledging the 2S LGBTQIA plus community here in Manitoba, taking up rightful space in places that we were never meant to be, that the community was never meant to be. And it's more than just symbolic. It is about taking up that space and that place, because 2S LGBTQIA relatives deserve to be in every space. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to be protected. Our government, I'm so proud to be a part of a government that stands with and supports the 2S LGBTQI community. As an ally, I don't want to take up much space. This is for you. Today is about you. So on behalf of our Wage team and our whole government, happy Pride.
Okay, in classic Minister Fontaine fashion, she showed me how close I should be to the mic because I was doing it wrong before. Can everyone hear me now? Okay. Okay, fortunately, one thing that I do know is a drag show. So who here is attending their first drag show at the Ledge right now? Oh yeah, okay. Well, it's the first drag show at any legislative building in Canada, so that's worth noting. So before I call up our first performer for today, I'm going to give you a quick run through of 4 things to know about a drag show. So number 1, tips are always appreciated. So if you've got your 5s, your 20s, your 100s, whatever you've got, feel free to pull it out and get it ready to tip today's performers. You can do that by just holding it up. They know where to find it. Second, and very importantly, drag performers feed off of your energy. So let's make sure we are bringing the energy for these very talented performers. Yes, yes, this level, up. Third, in drag and in everything, consent is key. There are folks here wearing wigs that probably cost more than what you spend on haircuts in a year. So please look but don't touch these performers. And finally, and most importantly, drag is about joy and celebration and fun. So let's all have a great time. All right, so I'd like to start off by introducing our first performer of today. Ruby Chopsticks is the Asian pop princess of Winnipeg. Ruby was also Canada's very first drag artist in residence, thanks to a partnership with Rainbow Resource Centre, which you can learn more about in Ruby's award-winning documentary short, Becoming Ruby. So please join me in welcoming Ruby Chopsticks. was that? We'll collect it, don't worry. Thank you very much. I'll make sure this gets back to the Queens, don't worry. Okay, I would now like to welcome our next speaker and the leader of the Government of Manitoba, the Honourable Wab Kinew, Premier of Manitoba.
Get everybody up here. I'm just inviting the ministers and MLAs to come up here so that we can all say on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, Happy Pride! The Manitoba Legislature is your building. This belongs to you. This is the people's building. I hope you always feel welcome here, today especially, and especially during Pride Week. I got some business to take care of. We're announcing $2.5 million for Place of Pride, which brings our total commitment to $5.5 million. So that's a big investment for people as they age to have housing and security, and it's part of just having an inclusive society. But the reason why I invited the team up here is I got a real simple message that I want to share across the province and that I want to share in front of you here today. There's a lot of anti-trans sentiment right now, and I think it's really mean. It's really mean-spirited. And so I want to say to every young trans person out there, whether you're in the room or you're out there across Manitoba, if anyone's giving you a hard time, just know that the Premier, the Deputy Premier, the ministers, the MLA, and the entire government of Manitoba has your back. And to whoever who is saying all that anti-trans stuff up there, you're not just going to get away with picking on one lone trans child out there somewhere. You have to come see the Premier, the Deputy Premier, the ministers, the MLAs, and the entire government of Manitoba, because this is one province, one Manitoba, and it includes everybody. That's right. Happy Pride! And let's keep our neighbors and family and friends who are evacuated from their homes because of wildfire in our hearts and in our minds during these celebrations. And we're moving ahead because it's still important to celebrate Pride even during a state of emergency. Have a great week. Thanks, Premier. Right on.
Thank you, everybody. Can we get one more round of applause for having a supportive leader in provincial government? It's that easy. It's that easy for your provincial government to stand with everybody in your province. Okay, I would now like to introduce our next speaker, though looking around this room, most of you probably already knew them for their work in community, even before their work as the Deputy Premier and the Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Minister Uzoma Asagwara.
Hey! Folks. Happy Pride. Oh my gosh. Wow. What an incredible way to celebrate Pride in your building. in your building. I am so humbled and so honored to be a part of a government and part of a province, part of a provincial community that cares so deeply about one another. And that's really what Pride is all about. It's about going out and, yes, advancing human rights and fighting for taking up space that we deserve to take up and occupy. But it's about reminding people what we can achieve when we care for one another. And here in Manitoba, our government is working with each and every one of you to make sure that we set the standard, that we set the example of what we can achieve when we take care of each other, when we say we can and must be better, and that no one is left behind. And right now, and I think a lot of you know it, and I think a lot of you feel it, everywhere else in the country, if you can believe it, they're a little jealous of Manitoba. They're a little jealous of what we have going on here, as they should be. Right now, more than ever, it is so important that we shine bright as a community, as a province, to make sure that we send the message to all of our 2S LGBTQIA+ loved ones and relatives who are not in Manitoba, that they are not alone. And that they are not alone. No matter where you are not alone. And so let's celebrate Pride. Let's commit to making sure that as we move forward, we celebrate Pride 365. That's what we do in Manitoba. That's what should be done everywhere else. Let's set the example so that other people can follow in Manitoba's little footsteps. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I just want to take a really quick moment to just shout out our amazing MC, Alex Crosney, a phenomenal person, a phenomenal community member. You're wonderful. Thank you for everything you do. And lastly, I just want to acknowledge that in our government, we believe that representation fundamentally matters. And so I want to say thank you to all of the 2S LGBTQIA+ staff who work in the People's Building, whether you're on our staff or not. If you work in this building, if you work in our government, you are part of this family. We see you, we thank you. Happy Pride, everybody.
Thanks, Minister. Okay, time for our second drag number of the afternoon. So I would like to introduce our second queen, Chimera. As a founding member of Chemical X and proud member of Dynasty, Chimera has been turning heads and making space for BIPOC voices in drag in Winnipeg and beyond. Let's all give it up for Chimera. Let's give it up one more time for Chimera. All right, I'm now honored to introduce two members of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community to share a few words. Pauline Emerson Frabe has been the president of Pembina Valley Pride since 2024, and she and her wife are the owners of Paul's Place, a queer-friendly space, safe space in Carmen. Pembina Valley Pride, queer folks in the crowd will also know, are the folks behind that incredible billboard between Morden and Winkler. Yeah. Letting rural Manitobans know we see them and we love them. Hannah Robbins is a youth member of Wage Manitoba's own 2S LGBTQIA+ advisory circle. They are an advocate for queer youth and hope to get more involved with communities in Winnipeg and at the University of Manitoba in the coming years. Please join me in welcoming Pauline and Hannah.
As a genderqueer lesbian youth, I feel very compelled to assist my community in any way that I can, especially with the increased targeting of more vulnerable or overlooked queer groups in the past several years, such as the transgender community, who have been facing unfair scrutiny from intolerant individuals, or the ASPEC community, who are far too often ignored in discussions of the larger 2S LGBTQIA+ community. Of course, it is incredible to look back and see how far our community has come through the hard work of previous generations, who have made this province so much safer and more welcoming to the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. I personally had a wonderful experience as a queer Manitoban, and have had opportunities and supports which I know wouldn't have been feasible 20 or 30 years ago. I have found groups and clubs for queer people in both my high school and university, and I found it very easy to find other queer people my age to talk to. My non-queer friends and elders have also been very supportive, and have never treated my sexuality or gender expression as anything strange or taboo. It's this environment which I'm so thankful to queer activists for, and I want nothing more than to get in on the momentum of previous generations and see how the next wave of queer activists work with the Manitoba government to secure rights and protections for all the queer Manitobans. Maybe what we fight for will be different from what others have fought for over the decades, but I think that just shows how far these efforts have brought us. We as a community have entered an era where we have the luxury to devote our resources towards getting proper government help in all areas of queer life and to all areas of the queer community. We no longer have to focus only on basic rights for only the most easily digestible of queers. We can now prioritize women, people of color, people outside the gender binary, and disabled people as we work to make the life in this province better for all the queer people who live here. I find it so astounding that less than 50 years after the first Pride March in Manitoba, we are in such a good place as a community. I'm able to tell my friends, family, classmates, teachers, boss, and even government workers that I am gay and that I don't conform to the gender binary. And not once has that ended poorly for me. I even got to be in a focus group run by the Women in Gender Equity Manitoba, where the goal is to improve quality of life for queer youth in Manitoba through improving access to government resources. How amazing is it that we've come so far? That queer access to public services is recognized as important by a government organization, and that queer voices like mine are valued in the process. Not everything is perfect right now in the queer community, but the fact that the government sees us and our community as people to be of benefit to gives me hope that Manitoba's queer community is far from finished with making progress, and I'm grateful to have the privilege of helping to make that progress happen. Thank you.
Greetings from rural Manitoba. Pembina Valley Pride covers a wide swath of land, from Morris to Cartwright, from Brunkild to Altona. Each of these communities has a small rainbow community. But by combining our resources and our social gatherings, we have created a substantial rainbow community in a very rural place. Since our inception in 2019, Pembina Valley Pride has worked to create community. We visit gender and sexuality alliances at schools throughout the region. Yes, GSAs do exist in small rural towns. We meet throughout the month. We meet throughout the month at game nights in Altona and Carmen and Morden. We now have a queer book club. We meet for open mics. We've sponsored drag shows in Morden and Carmen. We celebrate Friendsgiving at the holidays together. And we even have a brunch with Santa. And just this past week, Pembina Valley Pride has put up a pride billboard between Morden and Winkler on Highway 3. Queer Pride has now expanded throughout the Pembina Valley through connections that we have made through Pride events. We meet up for impromptu rainbow picnics in the park, queer movie nights, jam sessions, and gender-free clothing swaps. We even have our own drag house, the House of Dale. With the help of each other and our allies, Pembina Valley Pride has helped to nurture spaces where we can be ourselves. By creating this community, we are embracing and proving that there is love and acceptance in the Bible Belt of Canada. Now, I wish to thank the fine folks of Winnipeg. There was a time not too long ago that a queer person from the country had to move to the city in order to be part of a queer community. You were there for us. You helped nurture us. You welcomed us. But now it's becoming okay to live where we live, to stay in the communities that we love. We are proving that one doesn't necessarily need to move to an urban environment to be our true selves. Because Pembina Valley Pride and numerous other Manitoba Pride organizations have built a network, a community wherein all of the 2SLGBTQIA+ people of Manitoba can be themselves. And one more thing. Pembina Valley Pride will be having our Pride celebration next Saturday, June 7th in Carmen. Take a drive, come on out.
Thank you again for joining us and sharing the work you're doing in both of your communities to really transform the spaces you're parts of. Okay, if you have been part of the queer community in Winnipeg, and even if you haven't and you've just wandered over to Club 200 at some point in your life, you already know our next performer. You know her. Anita Stallion is a member, let's just cheer for Anita. Anita Stallion is a member of the Bannock Babes and truly a drag matriarch in Winnipeg. She's been performing in drag for more than 26 years, and you're about to see some of that today. Let's welcome Anita Stallion. All right, folks, that almost brings us to the end of our formal program. I just want to end with a couple of thank yous. First of all, someone who has not yet had a shout out but has really contributed to the vibe of today is our DJ, the Captain. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to say a big thank you again to all of our performers and speakers, and a big thank you to all of the members of the many community resource groups that you can find on the main floor of the ledge right now. We take care of us, so shout out to those folks over there. I also just want to say I love this community with my whole heart, and oh no. Yeah. And it's the honor of my life to work with a government that cares for this community just as much as we care for ourselves. So thank you and happy Pride, everyone.